Once upon a time, in a dense and wild forest, a lioness gave birth to a lion cub. But, tragically, right after giving birth, the mother lion took her last breath. The newborn cub, fragile and confused, was left without protection or guidance. At that very moment, a flock of sheep happened to pass by. Seeing the small, lonely lion cub, the sheep weren't afraid. Instead, they felt sympathy and allowed the cub to join them. From that day on, the lion cub grew up among the sheep, completely unaware of his true origins. Every day he grazed grass with the flock, avoided danger, and lived a gentle, obedient life. Having never seen another lion, he didn't know he was different. He never roared, never hunted, and never expressed the strength within him. He believed he was a sheep, weak, timid, and afraid. As time passed, the cub grew into a young lion. But his mind was still shaped like that of a sheep. He had never questioned it. Surrounded by a false sense of safety, he lived a life that was never truly his own, a lion with the soul of a sheep. Time went on, and the young lion continued living with the flock, fully believing he was one of them. But then, one morning, just as the sun rose above the mountain, an old lion wandering through the forest suddenly stopped at a strange sight, a young lion walking among sheep. The old lion rubbed his eyes, thinking he must be mistaken. How could a lion be living among sheep? He wondered. Curious and astonished, he decided to approach. Suddenly, he charged at the flock, sending the sheep scattering in panic. Among them, the young lion also fled in fear, just like the rest. The old lion quickly caught up, grabbing the trembling young lion who was crying and shaking. In fear, the young lion pleaded, "Please don't hurt me. I'm just a weak little sheep. Please don't kill me." Hearing this, the old lion was stunned. He looked deep into the young lion's eyes and understood what had happened. This lion truly believed he was a sheep. Without anger or blame, the old lion gently said, "Come with me." He then led the young lion to the edge of a crystal-clear river. "Look into the water," he said. As the young lion leaned over and looked down for the first time, he saw his true reflection. The young lion stepped closer to the river's edge, his legs still trembling. The water was as clear as glass. As he bent down to look, he froze. Reflected in the calm surface was not a sheep, but a mighty lion staring back at him. His eyes widened, heart pounding, filled with shock and disbelief. He looked at the old lion, then back at the water. That image, thick mane, strong shoulders, piercing eyes, was unmistakably that of a real lion. The old lion softly said, "You are not a sheep. You never were. You are a lion, the king of the jungle. You've lived in an illusion for far too long." A long silence followed. Then suddenly, like a fire igniting within, the young lion felt something awakening inside him. A strength, a primal instinct he had never known. Then, lifting his head high, taking a deep breath, he roared for the first time in his life. The roar echoed across the entire jungle, powerful, majestic, full of the spirit of a true king. The whole forest seemed to pause, listening to that sound, the sound of awakening. The young lion was no longer a sheep in his mind. He had seen who he truly was, had discovered his real identity, and for the first time in his life, he felt the strength that had always been buried deep within. As the roar rippled through the jungle, the young lion felt a surge of powerful energy rise in his chest. It was his true strength, the strength that had been hidden for years. In that moment, he was no longer the timid creature who had lived like a sheep. He was awake. He had remembered who he truly was. The life he had lived before was nothing but an illusion, a mental prison built from fear and ignorance. He had believed he was weak, had been afraid, and had accepted that his place was to follow the herd. But all of that had been a psychological trap. He had never been a sheep. He had always been a lion. He just hadn't been reminded, hadn't seen the truth. This story carries a profound message. Many of us are like lions living among sheep, powerful yet unaware, full of potential yet held back by fear and false beliefs. You must awaken. Look deeply at your true self. Cast aside limiting thoughts and rise above mental barriers. When you do, you will roar, and the world will hear the powerful voice of your authentic self. The story of the lion living among sheep is more than just a tale. It's a mirror reflecting the reality of so many lives. We are born with strength, ability, and courage, but society, circumstances, and doubt cloud our truth. How many people spend their lives thinking they're not good enough, not strong enough, simply because they're surrounded by limited thinking, by voices that make them question their worth. Like the young lion, we are trapped in an invisible cage called fear and beliefs. But the truth is, you were never meant to live like a sheep. Inside you is a lion, strong, proud, and full of potential. All you need is the courage to face yourself, to rise above the crowd and awaken. When that happens, your roar will echo across the world. Don't live in fear because others taught you to. Live the way you were born to live, as a leader, as a lion. Remember, you are a lion. It's time to roar.